Hello!
Hello, AOS fans!
It's the Agents of Sigmar.
Or should you say Shadespire?
I've not said that in a long time.
That's where we made our name.
It was,
Keep going with the Agents of Shadespire. New Warhammer Underworlds Starter Box is here.
Yep.
And we want to say thank you to GW for sending us a copy to big up, and big it up we shall.
Before we get into the main content of this video, don't forget to like,
subscribe,
ring that bell,
and maybe even check us out on Patreon where we've got loads of new content coming.
Yes, it's back in the Shadespire. It's back into the origins of the whole game. And I was thinking the other day that it's called Underworlds, but it's not really Underworlds anymore.
No,
it's
not.
just like all over the place. Yeah. I mean, yeah, sometimes in a mountain or whatever, but it's not really. It's not got this. I almost do miss this aesthetic of the spooky cities underground.
I liked it.
That claustrophobic feel.
I can see why they moved away from it, because it was getting a bit cluttered.
Yeah.
There were 50 warbands
in
there, but it's back in Shadespire. It's got a real Shadespire aesthetic. I'm going to bend over here. They've got it's got a proper.
The old Cataphrane relic symbol thing on it again.
So these are two of the things that you get in the box.
Woo! Booklets!
You get a rule book and you get a read this first starter book. So of course Pete and I haven't read that.
No. It does have the shattered mirror image on the back, which I did like, which looks rather nice.
It does,
but it's updated obviously because it's not got all the warbands in there. It's just got people looking very sad. They've just their electricity bill and stuff like that. So, but yes, there's a starter booklet in there which says read this first.
Yeah, and it's pretty cool. It's actually, if you are brand new to the game, this is pretty cool. It basically takes you through an entire game.
Yep.
With you start off with your starting hands, and it tells you where to
board layout,
where to put the
model
where to put the board, put the boards, where to put the models on the boards, where to move, and what to even gives you the dice,
the actions, the dice roll results, and everything. So I might get some crits.
It goes all the way through. I almost wonder, and I mean, they haven't done it. I almost wonder whether it's overkill.
Maybe, but we've seen some other games do this kind of thing, and I think if you are brand new to it, it is quite nice to have that kind of explanation of all the basics without you having to know somebody who already knows the game.
Yeah, and that's definitely true. And you can play it on your own as well, because both sides you can actually work through it on your own, understand the concept. So it is really good. I just wondered if I was going to play, whether I'd want to get all the way to the end. If I was on my own, I'd have to, really, wouldn't I?
Yeah.
But if you're playing, we've got...
Once you get to the first round, shut the book and then go, but what happens next?
And there is, it tells you what happens next. What next? Play through the game again. Play a full game of Warhammer Underworlds yourself. And then the adventure continues, and it tells you how to go off and go and get new rival sticks and all that jazz. I quite like at the back, although this page is really sticky. Well, not sticky, but just staticky, so it sticks. So it took me ages to find this. But at the back, there's a Fast Riders primer and a Sepulchral Guard primer that tells you how to play them.
It's quite cool.
Or not how to play them, or ideas of the way in which
it's just some basics about each warband if you are brand new, which I really like that. I mean, anybody who's played the game a while, who's played either warband, you'll know what it says pretty much. But it's nice for anybody new to the game. They can read that and go, right, okay, so that's what I'm doing. It even gives you some advice about where to place the models and what your first action should look like.
And to be honest, every warband should come with one of those. I quite like it. There's a little card. They have the little cards in it. If they have a little thing of these are your key cards. This is your this is where how you should set up kind of thing. I would actually quite like that. It would be quite good because it is pretty good. Because sometimes when there's been with White Dwarf articles, like that was one about you can play the Shaker Trilo with Nurgle. Probably don't really care about that if you want to know what's in this box. But it was like, well, no, you'd never do that. But they're quite accurate in there. So some accurate advice on how to play is vital, I think.
Series of videos, I think, going there. We could do series of videos, how to play the warband, what the general things are you want to do and stuff.
Yeah, but you missed the keyword. The keyword was accurate.
Okay, never mind. Anyway, moving on.
The rulebook is almost an exact identical copy of the existing Weird Hollow rulebook. Where it differs,
it hasn't got that weird circular mouth thing on the front, which is a bit disturbing.
It points you. Yes, is it a mouth? It points you towards the online version of the Weird Hollow rulebook because it does differ in a few places. For example, you get no mention. Probably the biggest change is there's no mention of lethal hexes in here at all because there are no, on the boards that you get in the box. There are no mention of there are no lethal hexes and there are no lethal tokens, which we'll come on to in a minute.
There's no mention of plunder either.
No, there's no plunder. There's no magic.
No magic. No.
It's probably bigger. And there's nothing in here, although you do get the tokens in the box for objectives 6 to 9.
Yeah.
There's nothing in here about a multiplayer game
version of the game. So it's a bit I don't know why it bugs me a little bit that it doesn't have things in there that are in the current version of the game, like it doesn't have the magic dice, because I just feel like anybody who immediately goes out into the big wide world with this and goes to a store and someone goes, I'm going to play with this warband, and you'd be like, what are those things? Like, they're magic dice, they come in the box.
It's really hard because the magic dice don't come in the box.
No, I mean, so if they've got regular, like weird
box,
hollow.
No, but in this box, yeah. So it's really hard. I can't decide whether, because obviously we're coming from the point of view of having played this game for years, knowing it, thinking, oh, well, you need that if you want to play. If you've come to this game cold, and there's all these things in the rulebook that are even in your box, or and you don't need, is that just confusing? I almost wonder whether they ought to have been at the back. So these rules are in the game.
But you're not going to need them.
This just does it.
Maybe something like that.
But I can see why they've done it this way. But I can see your point of view that it's a bit frustrating because you do immediately have to go and look at a digital resource to see how to play the game, and it already starts getting confusing. Maybe, but overall, I think it's a really neat package.
Yes.
Just like Pete.
There's also some other generic tokens in there which you don't actually use, along with the objective tokens.
Yeah, they're called generic feature tokens, which is kind of interesting. So I suppose if you end up playing somebody with weird, not nether maze with the gloom, you can use them as gloom, or you can use them as snare if you're playing with weird hollow. But it's a curious addition. I think they're in there. They've got a totally different art we've never seen before, and they're called generic feature tokens. There's a standard scatter hex in there, but scatter's not in the rules. Yeah. But it just says in there, go and look at the main rules if you want to use scatter. So none of the cards or anything use scatter, and obviously none of them use magic dice because there aren't any magic dice in the box.
There's also the new style, movement and charge tokens in there.
Yes, that's a very good point.
Again, it's not going to matter too much once you get out there, and I suspect come the next season of the game, they'll be in there as well.
They do make more sense.
Yeah, they do.
They symbolise what you're doing.
Yeah,
so they are a little bit better than the older ones.
Alongside that, you also get the two boards, which are from the Nightfall era, so they're old boards. If you've already got Nightfall, you've already got them.
Are they a mix of Shakespeare?
They are.
I think they're, because we thought they were going to be all Nightfall, but I think that because some of the Nightfall ones did have lethal hexes on it.
Yes.
So they've picked one side or other is a Shadespire Warband and the other one's a Nightfall. But there are, like I say, there are some blocked hexes.
Yeah,
but there are no lethals.
Other than that, you then get the two warbands, which you're kind of expecting, and two rivals decks to go with them.
The models are exactly the same as the old ones, same colour plastic, just there's no difference there at all.
Yeah. So the big question is, who is this good for, who is it bad for, and is it worth it overall?
Well, I mean, it all depends on whether you're a completist, what you've already got, and all that kind of stuff. If you are starting the game, which is kind of clearly what this is designed for, then yes, it's a really good purchase.
I think so, yeah. I think
we haven't seen the price yet, but assuming it comes in under the cost of a weird hollow box, which I think the last one was about 20 quid cheaper than the
somewhere around that
core set boxes. So I think if in that case, I would definitely say it was worth it. If you've never played this game before, we're going to talk about the warbands in a separate video, but they're basically two solid warbands that have been quite well thought out, very closely matched, and fairly simple to play. Unlike the new weird hollow core set, which is really quite complicated. Doesn't immediately breaks the rules before you even start. Yeah. This is a really good introduction, which I guess is why they've chosen those warbands.
If you are a completist, you're probably going to want to get this just so you can get those rivals decks, because without those rivals decks, I don't think there's anything in here for the long-term player unless you never got the Sepulchral Guard when they were originally available and you want the models or something like that. Other than that, I can't see many reasons to get this apart from for those cards.
Well, I know there's a lot of people who have been in it since the beginning, and they might be a bit frustrated, but there's an awful lot of people who haven't.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you did join in Chasm, it was probably quite hard to get these guys. So, again, it's a good way to pick them up. It is a bit of a shame that you're going to get another shed load of tokens and some more dice that you don't really want.
Yeah.
That's always a bit frustrating, but I can't see GW bringing this out as a separate, smaller box. I mean, I might be wrong. They might. Wouldn't it be great if they started to revamp all the warbands and bought them out in little boxes?
They could do little champions offsets and stuff. That'd be fantastic.
Not sure it's going to happen though.
No, probably
so,
not.
Bottom line is it's going to be a decision for you, and you might moan that GW are being, it's
money
not
grabbing
fair
or
whatever. But I think it's just one of those things. They can't cater for everybody, and I think they've got to cater for the new and the wealthy.
Yeah, but this is aimed at the new, and hopefully it will help encourage a lot more people in.
Yes, and I think it will.
Yeah, it's a good set. I would definitely recommend it if you've not played Underworlds before and you're wondering what all the hype is about. This is a great place to start.
Definitely is.
So do keep your eyes open for other videos where we're going to talk about the warbands and all our other Underworlds content.
Yes, and we'll also have a separate video which tells you all the things that have changed since you last played, if you're coming back to the game with the new starter set.
So we'll see you soon.
Bye for now.